Today, we're tackling something that sounds, well, almost ridiculously simple. We're gonna try and make a spoon. But trust me, this isn't just some arts and crafts project. It's actually a pretty cool story about invention, about failing over and over again, and then finally having a breakthrough.
So, before we can even build a spoon, we've got to ask a fundamental question. What makes a spoon a spoon? What properties does it need to actually work? It has to be strong enough to lift stuff, it needs that cupped shape to hold liquid, and it can't just fall apart. Sounds easy enough, right? Let's find out.
First up to the plate, aluminum foil. This seems like a pretty logical choice. It's super easy to shape, and it's definitely waterproof. This feels like a really promising start. Honestly, what could possibly go wrong?
And yep, there it is. Our first oops, a complete and total failure. But the really important question isn't that it failed, it's why it failed.
Okay, so here's the crucial lesson. A spoon isn't just a tiny bowl, it's a tiny lever. And our foil spoon had absolutely zero structural rigidity. The moment it tried to lift even the smallest amount of weight, it just buckled. So, lesson 1, loud and clear. A spoon has to be strong.
All right, on to attempt number 2. We know we need more strength, so let's try paper. We can fold it, add some layers to build in that rigidity we were missing. See, we're learning, we're adapting. This has gotta work, right?
And we get our second oops. So we fixed the strength problem, but we just slammed right into a totally new wall. Each failure is definitely teaching us something, but this is proving to be trickier than it looks.
Paper's biggest problem, its fatal flaw, was how it reacts to water. The second it touched the liquid, all that structure we so carefully built just vanished. It basically turned to mush. So, lesson number 2 is just as critical as the first one. A spoon has to be water resistant. Okay, third time's the charm, right? Let's get a little weird with it. Our third contender, a sponge. It's got a shape, it's light. We're definitely thinking outside the box now. And there it is, the oops trifecta. This one might just be the most spectacular failure yet, because the sponge didn't just fail, it did the exact opposite of what we wanted it to do. Now, what's so fascinating about this failure is that the sponge did its main job perfectly. It absorbed the liquid, and that is precisely why it's a terrible spoon. It trapped the liquid instead of helping us move it. So, lesson number 3, a spoon cannot be absorbent, period. Okay, let's pause and recap for a second. All of our failures have actually given us a blueprint for success. We now know exactly what a spoon can't be. It can't be flimsy like foil, or turn to mush like paper, or be absorbent like a sponge. What we need is a material that's rigid, strong, and water-resistant. And that brings us to our final contender, cardboard. Let's think about it. It's rigid, it doesn't immediately soak up water. This just might be the one. This might have that perfect combination of everything we've learned so far. And yes, finally, it works. After 3 failed attempts, the cardboard holds its shape, it resists the water, and it actually functions as a spoon. We did it! So why did cardboard succeed where everything else failed so badly? Well, it wasn't just luck. It was the direct result of everything we learned from each one of those oops moments. Let's dig into the science of this success. When you look at it this way, it all makes sense. Foil was water-resistant, but it had no rigidity. Paper had neither. The sponge, well, it was just fundamentally the wrong tool for the job. But cardboard hit that perfect sweet spot, high rigidity and a medium level of water resistance. That was the key. This whole process we just went through actually has a name. It's called iterative design. It's pretty much the engine that drives all innovation. You build, you test, you fail, you learn from the failure, and then you build again, only smarter this time. Each oops wasn't a mistake. It was a data point that guided us toward that final yes. And that's really the core lesson of our whole spoon experiment. Failure isn't something you should run from. It's something you have to embrace. Every single oops isn't a step backward. It's the critical piece of information you need to take a productive leap forward. So, what about you? What problem in your life could you solve? Not with a more complicated plan, but just by trying a totally new material or a different approach. Be willing to collect a few oopses of your own on the way to finding that final yes.